welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control. We have some great animals for you today. We've got 4 dogs that we're going to showcase and several cats that are going to be potentially your next family member. The first guest we have here with Tammy is Tyson, and he's about 9 months old. We have him down as a pit bull mix, but his previous owner said that he was a pit bull bulldog mix. Tyson is maybe one of the cutest dogs on the adoption floor right now. He's adorable and he kind of knows it. He is super sweet and loves to give kisses and likes to hug, and he loves affection. He likes being petted. But what I think is always kind of sad is when some dogs come in and they don't really know how to play. And Tyson, for being a puppy, doesn't really know how to play. He's interested in toys but still hasn't quite figured it out. So if you were to take him home and make him part of your family, showing him how to play and be a carefree puppy is probably going to be one of the best things. Just seeing the joy that comes out of him when he figures it out will make you feel just so great. We see it here all the time with dogs that come in and they're kind of a little shy and then they start to open up. Tyson is, again, 9 months old, so he'll be adopted through our puppy process. At this point, he did have a couple applications already, but we do take up to 4 applications for all of our puppies and choose the best fit for the dog. He would be adopted for an adoption fee of $150. That's the puppy adoption fee. Tyson was brought to us because the grandson in the house was allergic to him. So that's an important thing to talk about, in that that's the reason why we make everyone come in that lives in your home, visit with the animal before we proceed with an adoption. We have behavior assessed him like we do all the dogs, and as you can see, he could use a little help with the, it's not always nice to jump on people, but otherwise, you know, those are just basic things that if you find the right motivation for your dog, can be pretty easy to train. He reacts favorably to other dogs, but he can be a little fearful and shy with new people. But as you can see, once he gets comfortable with you, he's just a big goofy puppy. We weren't able to test him for food aggression because he wasn't interested in the food. We weren't really able to test him for guarding either because, as I mentioned, he doesn't really know what to do with a toy. But otherwise, he's a fantastic dog. He's just looking for the right forever home. If you think that yours is that home, you can stop in and visit with him here at Frederick County Animal Control. We are located at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. It's an all pit bull show as far as our dogs are concerned today. And our next guest is Clyde, and he is all muscle. You can just see the definition in every part of his body. And as you would assume, with muscles like that, he is a strong guy. He's about 1.5 years old, and he is one of our green color-coded dogs, which, if you're not familiar with our color-coding system, means go, go, go. High energy. I have witnessed Clyde jumping up in his kennel, and he can jump pretty high, and so that's something that you should take into consideration if you have a small fence in your yard, making sure that he's not going to jump over that, making sure that he's not going to be jumping up onto your kids and things like that would also be very important. We have noted one thing that is important for everybody to understand with Clyde is that he can be mouthy and grabby, which means he likes to chew on things that maybe are inappropriate to chew on, like hands and pulling on sleeves and jackets and on your pants legs and things like that. So that's something that Clyde's new owner would have to work on training him with, so that he learns what is appropriate and not to have in his mouth. There are lots of training classes that you can attend, which are also great for socialization and bonding with your dog. He also likes to climb on stuff, which some people are okay with, but you want to make sure that it's not all the time. You don't necessarily want him jumping on every visitor. So it's nice to train and cue that, so that when you're ready for him to, you know, cuddle with you, you can say a word like hugs or something like that, and then he'll come in and hug with you, but he's not going to be jumping up on everyone who comes to your house. Again, he's strong. He has that tendency to be mouthy. He also needs to work on keeping his kennel clean, so some house training will also be in the cards for Clyde's new owner. He doesn't have issues with food aggression, though. He's easy to obtain. He reacts favorably to other dogs. He's friendly. According to his previous owner, he was brought to us because they had a dog and they weren't supposed to have one on the property. So this is another important part of our application process. We call all landlords to make sure that the dog or the cat or the rabbit, whatever that you're applying for, you're allowed to have in your home. If you want to take Clyde home and make him part of your family, you can stop in and visit with him here at the shelter. The adoption fee for our adult dogs is $92.50. Our next guest is Sky, and she's the only girl on the show today. She's about 2 years old, and she's another pit bull mix. She is blue and white, and she has been told, I've been told by many people that she's super sweet, super affectionate, and that's going to make her a great pet. However, she does have some things listed in her vet notes that are important for people to understand before they're possibly making her part of their family. So the first thing is that the vet said she was a little bit overweight. She's weighing in at about 65 pounds, and in her vet notes it says that she should be down to more like right at 60 pounds. So getting a little bit of a diet and exercise plan going for her might be helpful. Then they also noted that she has a possible grade 1 of 6 heart murmur. Sometimes that just requires a couple extra trips to the vet maybe, and not all dogs that have heart murmurs, or cats for that matter, that doesn't always develop into heart disease. As you can see, she's a bit goofy. She loves to roll around and play and cuddle. In our behavior assessment for her, we did note how she loves to be petted, and she leans in and enjoys touch, and we also noted how happy she usually is. Sometimes her face can look a little stern, but her inside, this is how she is kind of all the time. She is pretty good about keeping her kennel clean. She's very friendly when you approach her kennel. She has no reaction with other dogs, but sometimes when they initiate it, she can be a little bit aggressive in that she barks. But mostly she has no reaction to those other dogs. She's easy to obtain. She can pull a little bit. So maybe one of the freedom harnesses or the gentle leaders would be good for her, so that she learns that it's not okay to pull. She doesn't really have any issues with food aggression. They were unable to test her for guarding. So another one of those dogs that really needs someone who's going to teach her how to play. As you can see, she already has a silly side. She just needs to know how to incorporate that silly side with some toys. She's color-coded as orange, which means she has some basic manners down. She does a nice sit. She seems to take treats pretty gently. But there are some things that you could work on with her a little bit more. She's just, an individually average dog here at the shelter, which is a good thing. If you wanted to make Sky part of your home, first step is always to come in and visit with her. Our hours of operation for our kennels, where you can interact and see the animals, are Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10 to 5, on Wednesday and Thursday from 12 to 8, and on Saturdays from 10 to 4. The last dog we have on the show for you today is Zeus, and he is another 2-year-old pit bull mix. He actually came in with Sky, so we don't necessarily think they're from the same litter, but they are from the same household, so they are familiar with each other. That just shows that they do get along with other dogs. There was actually a third dog in that mix as well who was sent off to a rescue. So, if you're interested in getting a dog that gets along well with other dogs, these guys are good choices. Also, it is possible that if you were interested in both, we might be able to work out an adoption so you could take both dogs home if that's something that you were willing to do. Their behavior assessments are pretty similar, actually. Zeus seems to do a little bit better with keeping his kennel clean. Both are friendly, easy to obtain. Both can be pullers. Again, the harness that we talked about with Sky would be beneficial for Zeus as well. The freedom harnesses and things like that. So that it teaches them not to pull. Again, no real issues with food aggression, unable to test for toys because they weren't really interested in them, but again, rolling around on the floor, loves affection, loves attention, just a big goofy guy, just like his sister's a big goofy girl. He is strong, puller. We did want to reiterate that, but also he loves to cuddle. So he's the kind of dog that can go out and have a nice long walk with you, but then will also want to cuddle up on the couch when all is said and done. One thing that is also important to note is that we are recommending no small animals for whatever home Zeus were to go to. The previous owner put down that he was aggressive. As you can see, we're not really seeing a lot of aggression, so they followed up and called and to ask what that meant. And the previous owner said that Zeus once charged after a cat. So a cat in your house with Zeus might not be a great idea. But other than that, what you see is kind of what you get with him. He knows some basic manners. He knows a nice sit. He willingly gave a paw. He takes treats pretty gently. And he's still trying to figure out the whole playing with toys thing. But he's a little bit further along, I think, than Sky is. Either way, all the dogs on the show today are great dogs. Some of them need a little bit more work from their owners as far as training is concerned, but they all just need a loving home to make them feel safe and provide them with a happy life for the rest of their lives. All of these dogs are young dogs, so they have a lot of time left to spend with a family. If you were to be interested in any of these animals, you can always stop by the shelter, 1832 Rosemont Avenue, or if you wanted to call and see what their adoption status was before driving down to the shelter, you can always give us a call. Our number is 301-600-1546. That's going to wrap it up for our dog portion of the show today. Stay tuned, and after the break, we're going to introduce you to 6 cats that are looking for forever homes here at Frederick County Animal Control.
Are you looking for that perfect spot for your child's next birthday party? Look no farther. Frederick County Parks and Recreation can fulfill all your birthday party needs. Choose from any of our rec center locations. Your party rental includes tables, chairs, on-site facility supervisor, and much more. Pricing for our parties is $120 for 2 hours in our rec room or $170 for 2 hours in our rec room and gymnasium. For more information and availability, visit us on the web at www.recreator.com.
Welcome back. The first cat that we have for you is Esme, and she is a beautiful all-black cat. Some of you may remember we've had Summer on the show a couple of times. Summer is one of our big girls, and Esme is also a part of that club. Esme weighs in at 16 pounds, but given her frame size, she's more than a little bit overweight. So she's on a bit of a diet, special food that's gonna help her lose a few pounds while she's here with us. But once she were to be adopted, it's important for any of her new family members to find out, what her diet plan should be, because she is a senior cat. She's 10 years old, so being overweight puts her at risk for a lot of illnesses that are related to weight, diabetes being one of them. So it's really important to keep track of that. We've talked about it before, but food does not mean necessarily love for your animals. It's important to feed them the appropriate amounts of food. Just giving them food all the time can lead to problems like Esme has, like Summer has, like several of the cats that we're going to have on the show today have, where they're just overweight and it's not healthy for them. Esme was previously owned. She was owned by a family for about 9 years, and then they brought her to us because they said that she wasn't doing well with some household changes. Not only did they get a dog, but they also started having a family. They said that Esme tolerates the children, but wasn't necessarily a fan, and that could mean a lot of things. We do ask that every member of the family come in and meet with the cat. So if you have children, it's not necessarily that Esme won't get along with them. It could be that these kids were younger. It could be that they were, petting her in places that she didn't like. They could have been chasing her around. We don't know what the situation was. It's important for every parent to teach their kids how to be respectful of the pets in their home, so that the pets and the kids can coexist and all be happy. As far as getting along with the dog, maybe if you have a dog, taking Esme home might not be the best situation for all involved. But when you're integrating new pets, you want to make sure that you're doing it the proper way. You can't just toss them together and assume that they're going to like each other. You want to keep them separate for a while, do supervised interaction, gradually increasing those times that they're spent together until everybody in the house is confident that everybody else can get along. All the volunteers say Esme's super sweet. She's kind of a little bit lazy, but she doesn't have a lot of room to move around. She just likes to lay in her bed and get lots of love and attention. So if you're looking for someone that's going to keep you company, if you have a quieter house maybe, that's going to be a great fit for this senior cat. You can stop in and visit with her Monday through Saturday. Those are our open hours to the public. As a senior cat at 10 years old, she would have a $40 reduction in her adoption fee, as we have different rates for all of our seniors as far as discounts go. Our next guest is another one of our seniors and another one of our big guys. This is Wampus, and he is also 10 years old, and he weighs in at a whopping 20 pounds, 11 ounces. So he's a big boy. A diet will also serve him well, but he's also a lot longer and taller than some of the other cats. So he's never going to be a 10-pound cat. He's going to be more in that, 15 to 18 kind of ish range. He's always going to be a little bit of a big guy, which is fine. We've had cats that are his size in the shelter before, and they do relatively well with a small diet and exercise plan. Wampus came to the shelter because his previous owner said that he had misguided aggression and biting. He also came in with a bite report. His bite report was provoked. Pretty much all of the bite reports that come in are animals that are provoked in some way, whether someone's petting them or they're going to the vet or something like that. I'm not sure what the situation was in his previous home, but here in the shelter, no one's really had any issues with him being aggressive. He's color-coded green, which just means he has a high energy level, which is going to be good for him because he is a little overweight. So once he gets into a home and can run around, that'll help him in that regard. But he's perfectly content to be petted and loved on in his cage. He asks for attention. As far as I know, again, no one has said that he has any issues with aggression here in the shelter. Sometimes it's just the environment. They don't necessarily maybe like something that happened. Maybe there were household changes. It says that he occasionally had accidents in his litter box, but they only changed his litter weekly, which can be, something that was playing a role in that. Maybe he wasn't happy with that. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. It's always good, if you're unsure, you can visit with the animals more than one time. An adoption application is not something that's written in stone. People call us all the time and say, hey, I thought about it a little bit more. I don't think this is the right pet for me or the right time for me. So if you come in and you're interested in Wampus, but you want to make sure that his behavior is going to be pretty steady with you, you can visit with him a couple of times. Some people put in applications and visit every day so that the animal gets to know them, gets familiar with them. So there are a lot of options. If this big guy is who you want to be cuddling up with you each winter and keeping you warm, you can stop by and visit with him here. He is hard to miss. He will make his presence known. His adoption fee, again, because he's a senior at 10 years old, will be $40 off. So instead of the normal $97.50, he would be able to go home for a fee of $57.50. Our next guest is Little One, and she is now back living in the shelter. If you are a frequent visitor. You may have seen her flyers all over the shelter. She was living for about 3 months in foster care because little one did not thrive here on the adoption floor. She arrived in September and spent September through mid-December on the adoption floor in the small confined cage, and all the animal smells and the noises and all the people just overstimulated her and made her so uncomfortable that touching her she wanted affection, but touching her just kind of set off every kind of fear response in her body. So she went into a foster home where she really thrived. She showed her true personality. She's a very food-motivated cat. She loves a good treat. She loves to cuddle. She's, the cat that's going to sleep on your bed every night and curl up on the couch with you while you're watching TV. She really likes all of those little microfiber blankets. Little one is also a couch potato and a TV lover. She loves to watch bird videos and mice videos and all of those things on YouTube. And she's very intense in her watching of those things. If it's on your phone and you lift the phone up, she follows it around. She really, really likes those things. She is a little bit older at 7 years old, so she does have some arthritis. She's kind of a sassy girl, so a cat-savvy owner would be good for her. But again, she has a lot of sweet elements to her. She can be a little shy around new people as well. So just being patient and taking time. She has lived in a foster home with another cat, although they weren't the best of friends. So if you have another cat, just keeping in mind that they will probably tolerate each other, but not necessarily cuddle with one another. And while little one does enjoy cuddling up on the couch with her owner, she is fairly independent, fairly curious. So she's not necessarily going to need to be with you at all times. Again, if you're interested, if you want to know more, you can always call the shelter. Our number is 301-600-1546. Our next guest is the youngest cat that we have on the adoption floor right now. Previously, we introduced you to some of our seniors, and Heineken is the only baby on the adoption floor. She's 3 to 4 months old, and she, while being incredibly adorable, is not necessarily the cat for every family. So a lot of people come in and they want kittens. Just because you want a kitten and Heineken's the only kitten does not mean that you should apply for Heineken. Heineken is very, very shy. So she needs a home that's going to be very patient with her, letting her get used to her new environment, taking things slow with her, maybe not having a house with lots and lots of loud noises. While she's been with us. Typically, kittens are not allowed to have volunteer visitors because they see so many visitors who are looking to adopt them. Heineken, however, does have one volunteer that is allowed to pet her and work with her and try to socialize her and make her more comfortable. And so she's had a lot of success. When that volunteer comes, she comes out of her little hiding bed. She is learning to play a little bit. But then when she leaves, she kind of scoots back into her safe zone until she feels more comfortable. When it's quiet, she tends to come out more, things like that. If you're looking just for kitten, just to have a kitten, in the next few months, kitten season will start up again, and we will have an abundance of kittens who are looking for forever homes, who maybe aren't so shy. Heineken was a stray, so we don't know a lot about her other than that she's shy, but otherwise she's a fairly healthy cat. She's got that great black coat, and she's got little kind of puffy cheeks, and she's so cute. But again, someone who's going to be very patient with her. Providing places for her to hide in the house that are safe is going to be important. We have her bed here, and she can kind of burrow into her bed, but you can use a cat carrier and put blankets in it. You could use a cardboard box. You don't want her to be encouraged to be hiding, in closets, under beds, under the couch. So if she's scared and trying to hide, you want to have places where she can hide but still be part of your family, so she gets more accustomed to being with you. You don't want to give her all of those caves where it's going to make it harder for her to adapt. Because she is a kitten, we would make sure that she is spayed before she leaves. We spay and neuter all of our pets. If she's old enough, she'll get her rabies vaccine, her county license, distemper vaccines, dewormer, flea and tick preventative. She's already been microchipped, and we also offer a free well visit to the vet, and you would get all of that for our adoption fee, which is $97.50. The last animal we have for you today is Porter, and he's another one of our younger cats. He's 10 to 11 months old, so he's probably not going to get much bigger, but he still has that little bit of kitten energy, juvenile cat energy. He's going to liven up your house a little bit probably. He's color-coded orange, which just means he's average. When he wants to cuddle, like he clearly does right now, he's happy to sit and cuddle. And when he wants to play, he's going to run around and play and be a little bit of a madman, if you will. One of the things that people notice very quickly about Porter is that his left eye looks different than his right. It's very cloudy. We have diagnosed him as being blind in that eye. It's an old scar from previously having an upper respiratory infection. So when we talk about the animals on our adoption floor and how serious we take making sure we're keeping our hands clean and cleaning your hands between each cat cage so that we don't spread that upper respiratory infection. It is important because if they get severe versions of that infection, it can lead to things like we're seeing in Porter where he's now blind in that eye. So we want to make sure that all of our visitors and our volunteers are taking those protocols that we have about keeping spread of germs to a minimum very seriously. And this is a prime example of why it is so important. Again, he was a stray, so we don't really know a lot about him except for what we're figuring out here. And he's a very recent addition to the adoption floor, but all of the volunteers that have spent time with him so far have nothing but great things to say about Porter. They love interacting with him, so he'll be a great addition to a household. He did come in with some other animals, so I'm not sure if they were just kind of hanging out in the same place or if they're relatives or not. His interactions with other animals should be pretty okay, but again, we talk all the time on the show about why it's important to introduce them slowly so that Porter and any of the existing animals you have in the house can feel comfortable and safe with one another. Another thing that you're going to see is that we treated this guy for ringworm. He tested actually negative, his culture, but it's a preventative measure, so he did have a lime sulfur dip and some other things, just so that we could be clear with that, just because ringworm is highly contagious. But he is a healthy cat now, other than that issue with his eye, and he's on the adoption floor looking for a forever home. His adoption fee would also be the $97.50. That includes all of the stuff that we've already talked about on the show. Just getting your cat neutered somewhere else is going to be more costly than that $97.50, so you're really getting a great deal with a great pet when you adopt from Frederick County Animal Control. That's going to be the end of our show for today. We hope that you tune in again next week, where we introduce you to several more of our animals looking for new families. If you are a frequent visitor to the shelter, we do also want to give you a little bit of an update. You're going to notice in the month of March and maybe a little bit into April that it's a little noisier. Some of the animals maybe aren't where you thought they would be or should be or where they normally are. We are doing some renovations to our small animal room and our kitty cabana, so that side of the building is currently under construction. If you're looking for our rabbits, they are now housed with on the cat floor with the cats. The guinea pigs are currently hanging out in our education room. If you're interested in any of the animals and you're not sure where to find them, you can always ask at the front desk. We do appreciate all of our visitors bearing with us while we're doing these renovations that will actually benefit all of our visitors and our animals in the long run. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you here again next week.